we established CW Applied Technology back in 2015, central to our motivation was the desire to help startups and inventors, creative types, to get the technology product ideas in their head, out of their head and into the daylight. You know, I've long held the belief that we're a very creative people, and I grew up, I suppose, in an era where if something got broken, it wasn't a case of rushing out to buy a replacement, it was a case of fixing it. I witnessed that many times growing up with my own father, and many of the solutions, the fix-it solutions, were better than the original. Farmers of a certain age would certainly know exactly what I'm talking about, because farmers were and still are the most creative when it comes to fixing something that got broken, and also coming up with ingenious solutions to problems where no solution existed previously. Of course, in those days, none of those solutions found their way in front of investors or were on Kickstarter or any of that type of thing. But nowadays, more and more of those are finding those routes to market. Perhaps a classic example is, in the agricultural phase, is Moocall. It's a product that was developed by a farmer called Niall Austin in Offaly. He witnessed something that every farmer realised existed, but he actually took it a step further and thought about how he could develop a product that would take the movement of a cow's tail and translate that into a text to a farmer to give him notice that in an hour's time a calf would be born. Since we formed CW Applied Technology, I'm inundated with the number of people that have come in the door with new product ideas, and absolutely gobsmacked at the creativity in those products. Some of them are already in development, some of them are still in people's heads and haven't fully found their way out. Some are wacky and perhaps no less ingenious because of that. But most of all, it's an indication of the creative genius at play in the country at the present time. So it's primarily for these inventors or creative types, the crazy ones as Steve Jobs would have called them, that we have come up with a concept called our ideation sessions. And the basic premise of the ideation session is that we invite into our creative space here in Shannon once a month on a Saturday morning, running from 10 o'clock until 12 o'clock, an inventor or startup. And we also invite in 12 experienced people to help the startup with a particular problem that they're having currently. So the basic premise is this: the inventor will have 1 minute to explain to the invited guests what it is that they have invented and want to bring to market. Our facilitator will then ask them a series of questions aimed at bringing out what it is that they have a problem with at the moment, what stumbling block have they encountered, and why the 12 people have been invited to advise them on this. Obviously, we will have known beforehand whether it's an engineering problem or a marketing problem or what the issue is, and we will have tailored our invitees to suit that particular purpose. We've had no difficulty in recruiting some of the most experienced people in the region to advise the startups. That's probably the most interesting part in some ways to us, in that people are very much willing to help, and willing to help startups in particular. People who have vast experience, you might argue a lot better things to be doing with their time, but they don't see it that way, and they want to help startups become businesses and to take their ideas from being an idea to an actual product. A lot of problems that startups and inventors face, apart from finance and all of those issues, is that they've spent a long time talking to themselves about what the problem is or what the product is, and they've convinced themselves that it's either a brilliant one or it's absolutely crazy idea and it's not worth pursuing. There's very little ground in between often, and what we hope to do is to say that there is ground in between. There's a lot of work. It's a hard area to be in a startup business. It's not easy. It takes a long time. But at least if you can get the advice of your peers and experienced people, this can help decide whether you want to pursue it or not. Our idea is not that we will help solve all the problems. That's not what we commit to do. What we commit to do is helping, and to hopefully shed some light and give fresh ideas around the product idea. Central to this is that all of the 12 invitees sign a non-disclosure agreement, so that if they come up with an idea during the session, such for example, they say to the inventor, you know what you should do with that product is X, Y, and Z. In other words, pivot. That idea belongs then to the inventor, not to the person who came up with the idea. It's the whole purpose of the ideation session is to assist and advise and help the startup in whatever way we can. So if you have a product idea that has some element of electronic hardware involved in it and you'd like to avail of these ideation sessions, please get in touch. Alternatively, if you would like to be part of the panel of 12, then we would love to talk to you as well.
Hi, my name is Nicola Sullivan and I'm co-founder of Exerwise. We're developing an activity tracker for children to help encourage them to be more physically active every day. So we did our first ideation session specifically with electronic engineers and manufacturing engineers. We decided this is a team that we wanted to make sure that the actual components of our product were the right for what we needed them to be. So we wanted to bring in experienced people from in industry and ask them their opinions and thoughts about our product. This was the best thing that we could have done at our stage of our journey. We were inexperienced straight out of college, so we really needed the in-industry experience to make sure that we were on the right track in what we were doing. So this opened our eyes to a lot of issues that we wouldn't have necessarily known or thought about that happen in the manufacturing process. So it was a really educational experience. The whole ideation session was so amazing that we actually approached John and asked for a second one. So that shows how much we enjoyed it. The second one, though, we wanted to look at a completely different angle. We wanted to bring in parents and introduce them to the X or Y's activity tracker and see what ideas and concerns they would have around the product. From a more technical side as well. So we looked at it from technical, from parents, from the sociology effects that it might have to a child. And we collected so much feedback from the participants. It was really educational and beneficial for the three of us at X or Y's. The people that participated in the ideation sessions encouraged us so much as a young startup to really dive into the idea and make sure we were building a product that they wanted and that they would use with their children. So it was really, really educational experience, and we can't thank John and the team of Everyone Dane and CW Applied Tech enough for the amount that we got out of the two sessions. They are a wonderful experience, so if you could do anything to help them, whether it's participating or if you're a startup, definitely do approach CW Applied Tech. We got the best experience out of their ideation sessions, and I can't thank them enough.